Okay, so in this video, I will cover the chapter Organization, Behavior, and Communication. First, both of these are very small chapters. First, starting with organizational behavior. Now, what is an organization? It is an aggregation of human beings deliberately and consciously created for attainment of certain goals with rational coordination of closely relevant activities. Now, organizational behavior (OB) is concerned with understanding and predicting and influencing the human behavior in an organized setting. Now, what is the scope of OB? In an individual level, it looks at the personality, perception, attitudes, motivation, job satisfaction, learning, and values. In a group level, it looks after the group dynamics, group conflicts, communication, leadership, power and politics. At an organizational structural level, it looks at the structure, culture, change, and development in the organization. Now, what are the elements of OB? They are people, structure, technology, and social system. Four elements are there: people, structure, technology, and social system. Next is disciplines of OB. This can be psychology, sociology, anthropology, social psychology, political science, economic science, engineering, medicine, and all these disciplines OB is used basically. So there are okay, five kinds of models for organizational behavior. First is autocratic model. It depends on the strength, power. It depends on the strength, power of the and like the power of a formal authority. Like you can just say that it depends on the uh, power and formal. So it depends on the power of formal structure or hierarchy gives you. Lower level employees have low control over everything and urgent action is required. Employees are unskilled and lower level needs are more like monetary needs are more. In this kind of case, autocratic model is more useful. For in custodial model, monetary needs are met by giving economic security, but the psychological needs are still not met. In supportive model, it focuses on and aspiring leadership, like staff is motivated through staff manager relationship, and employees are allowed to participate, and higher order needs are met, but the lower order needs like monetary needs are not met. In collegial model, it is based on teamwork, and everyone is encouraged to work together to build a better organization, and job fulfillment is there. And system model, this is the final organizational model. In this, the organization understands that everyone has different needs and people work to satisfy their self-actualization needs. Now there are a few variables for OB models. First are independent variables and then dependent variables. Now independent variables include independent variables can be in individual level, group level, organizational level. Dependent variables are productivity, absenteeism, uh, employee turnover, job satisfaction, deviant workplace behavior. Now, these are few terms like what is ethnocentrism? This is when one considers that their ethnic group is more important. Cultural relativism, when people know that no culture is superior. Managing knowledge workers, this means, okay, so for managing knowledgeable workers, these are the it is a challenging. Okay, no. Knowledgeable workers require a challenging job. They require immediate feedback and rewards, and they have different professional commitment and autonomy should be there, and they have different lifestyle as well. Now, in India, workplace diversity is given importance, and for diversity, these are the different groups: SCST, OBC, disabled, PWD, ex-defense, female, displaced, or migratory people. So, this is all about organizational behavior. Okay, so let's look after communication now. Now, what is communication? It is basically the transfer and understanding of meaning of a message. Now, communication process in this, the first step is developing an idea by the sender. Then, through encoding, that message is transferred and the medium is selected. Then, the transmission of message occurs. Then, the receiver receives the message and decoding is done, and required feedback is given to the sender, and this whole process keeps on continuing. Now, another model was given by Claude Shannon and Warren Weaver model. In this, a sender encodes the message, it sends it through a channel in which a noise is also present. Then decoder decodes the message and it is received by the receiver. Then receiver provides feedback to the sender. Now there is a two-way communication and one-way communication. In one-way communication, there is no feedback. In two-way communication, the receiver gives feedback and more refinement and accuracy is there, and also there is a certain confidence in the receiver. There are a few problems in two-way communication, like polarization. Like after discussing, they may take even more extreme steps, knowing that the other person is against them. Uh, Second is cognitive dissonance, that they might face internal conflict and anxiety from receiving information which is not that compatible with their value system. Now, what are the functions of communication? It is basic like management function, feedbacks, emotional sharing, etc. Now there are six types of communication networks. First is chain. It flows from downwards to upward. Next is circle. People just interact with each other, like the person on both the sides, and they only interact with each other. And then, like each person interacts with two people. That's it in circle. Then all channel, star or free network. This is the most decentralized network in which everyone interacts with the other person. Weak in this is the most centralized format in which only one person interacts with everyone. Y pattern, it like the lower people are more and they interact. There are multiple people who interact with one person and that gets on transferring. Inverted V, this is when subordinate talks to an immediate senior, but as well as they talk to their senior as like higher senior as well. These are okay. So these are let us look at some of the factors in all this in chain, wheel, and free circle communication networks. Like the speed is the will be the slowest is chain, and it will definitely be fastest in free network, and also in wheel it will be fast. Now accuracy in wheel it will be high, in chain it will be moderate, in all star I think it will be okay. In chain it also will be high, in all star it will be moderate. Emergence of leader in wheel it will be high, in chain also moderate, but in all star low. I think, yeah, none. Member satisfaction in wheel there will be low, in all star there will be high, in chain it will be moderate. I think, yeah. Now flexibility in chain will be high, and flexibility in wheel will be low, and chain also I think it will be low. Yeah, flexibility in free circle will be high. That is what I meant. Next is communication channel. They can be formal or informal or unofficial channel. For the choice of channel, they can be based on the richness. Richness means how often you can provide feedback, the sense of belongingness, and the number of multiple cues within the channel. Now, okay, no, in communication channel, informal, okay, that is not important. Now, routine messages are less complicated, so we can use low richness channel for them as we do not need to modify them much. And so, low richness channel contain memos, letters, formal reports, pre-recorded speeches, electronic mail. After that, voicemail, online discussion. After that, live speeches and phone calls. Like this is in the increasing order of richness, and that the highest richness channel is for video conference, face-to-face conversation. Now there are direction of communication. These are okay. There are five direction of communication. First will be downward. It follows a hierarchy, and manager instructs subordinates. So it is from top to bottom. The disadvantage is there is a distortion by there might be a distortion by superior. There might be a delay, filtering. One way it is a one-way communication, and the relationship deteriorates. Now, upward communication in which lower level employee talk to their manager and provide feedback. The disadvantage might be psychological, that managers won't take the employees' recommendation seriously. Unwillingness to listen to them, flattery, and delay might be there. Now, next. Okay, next is lateral communication. This is between members of the same work group or same level, but working in a different, like separate work group. Like in this, the position are equal horizontally. This can be between managers of different department, and this is kind of saves time. The only disadvantage will be if a manager from another department interacts with your manager, you might think of him as a rival, and interdepartmental conflict might happen due to this. Next is diagonal or crosswise communication. This is between a manager and employees of different work group entirely, and they bypass any other authorities, and they may be risky as well. The disadvantage might be superiors might feel a kind of infringement within their work group, and some ego issues may be caused. Next is grapevine or no direction communication. In this informal, unofficial channel, and in this communication can take place between any kind of any two people, and this is this kind of fills the gap for formal communication. These are of four types. First is single strand. It keeps on passing from one person to another. Second is gossip chain. One person goes and tells it to different people. Third is probability. One person goes and tells it to anyone they might find at that time, and it is not uh, their selected group. Fourth is cluster. One person tells it to their specific people of group, then in that group, another person tells it to their specific people of group. This is basically the gossip chain kind of thing, but it keeps on occurring multiple times. So these are the four types of grapevine communication. Now we are done with communication channels. Yeah. Now, what are the modes of communication? These can be verbal and non-verbal. Verbal contains words, and non-verbal does not contain words. Verbal can be of two types: oral and written. In oral, in verbal, it is discontinuous in nature, and legal proof. It can be considered as an legal proof as well. In non-verbal, it is continuous, and there is no. It cannot be considered as a legal proof. It is like your facial expressions and like all these things. Now, nonverbal facial expression. Second can be gestures done by hand. Third can be paralinguistic vocalic or prosodics. This means the tone by which you are talking. Fourth can be body language and posture or kinesics. Fifth can be proxemics or personal space. Sixth can be eye gaze or oculesics. Seventh can be haptics, like touch and affection you show while communicating. Eight can be appearance. Ninth can be chronemics. It is the role of time in your communication. Tenth can be written text, and 11th can be genetics. Now, what are the different kind of barriers in our communication? These are four types: semantic, psychological, organizational, and barriers in the subordinates. Now, semantic barriers are they are for symbols with different meanings. They can be for technical jargons, a faulty translation, unclarified assumption, and ambiguity of words. Now, psychological barriers is when there is a distrust in the person, inattention, or poor attention by the person. Now, organizational barriers is due to work policy, status relations, or organizational facilities might be lacking for communication, proper communication. Next is personal barriers like a negative attitude of superior, or lack of confidence in junior, or some other personal factors. Now, the last are others, which can be physical, attitudinal, gender, physiological, like some personal discomfort might be there, or rigidity or dogmatism. Dogmatism basically means stubbornness regarding small issues and lower listening ability. Uh, Another can be ideological barrier. This is basically issues, but they are big in nature, like religion, etc. Other can be filtering, generalization, like stereotyping everything, or halo effect. Halo effect means when your thinking is very polarized in a single direction. Linguistic barrier might be there, emotional barrier might be there. Horn effect. Horn effect is when you make judgment on someone based on one little negative trait you have seen in them. For example, if you see that a person is coming late to office and then you just assume that person might be lazy as well and won't be doing his work properly. So that is known as horn effect. Now, what is the keys to effective supervisory communication? First would be expressive speakers, empathetic listeners, persuasive leaders, sensitive to feelings, and informative managers. Now, that is all for these two chapters.